making jewelry to sell, and she's got a craft show coming up. So I thought she's coming home this weekend, and I thought what I would do is make some jewelry to give her so that she can sell, just kind of as a surprise. When I was raising money to try to get Dipsy, she was so helpful, and this is my way of paying back. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. And of course, Sir Fluffy is making all kinds of noise in the background. And for those of you who don't know, Sir Fluffy is my circus dog. He's a Bernese mountain dog, real sweet guy, but heavens, he can be noisy. So, alright, I don't know how many people are going to be here tonight. This is not a scheduled live stream or anything like that. So, I just thought since I was up late, I would just talk to you all at the same time. So, yeah. Oh, I don't usually do this kind of live stream, but I thought, why not? Hey, we've got one person in. Hi, welcome. This is not a live stream I typically do on making jewelry, but it's a surprise for my daughter. So she'll have some things to sell at her upcoming craft show. The first piece that I made a few minutes ago. I'm putting it on the necklace here. Hello. Yeah, this is Sir Fluffy that I was telling you all about. And this necklace, whoops, it's actually a piece of Roman glass that I wire wrapped. I don't know if you can see that. That's it. Hey, hi 71 Litter, how are you? Good to see you. What are you doing? Yeah, Sir Fluffy is wanting to get involved today. Are you being silly? I think so. You know, you can take a nap. You can actually go to sleep for the night. I don't think he wants to. But, yeah, I've been doing okay. How have you been? Yeah, so this is a piece that I wire wrapped earlier. I don't know if y'all can see it. It's 2,000 years old. The piece of glass is. So I hope she likes it. And I hope she can sell it. Just putting it on the silver chain. Silver plated, I should say. So it's not, I try to use all like non-tarnishing copper or silver plated because I just think it makes for prettier jewelry. You're doing pretty good. That's cool that you're making jewelry. Thank you. I just wanted to help her out. She's found out that this is a larger craft show that's coming up than what she thought. And she's got until August, so there's no point in like her panicking. But I thought, you know, why not? My daughter helped me out when I needed her, so I'll try to do the same. Okay, this is blue lapis, and I got to make a decision here. If I want to use copper, no I don't, I can already tell you. I'll use the heavier wire. Is not going to work. 20 gauge is heavier. Nope, I'm going to go on and move on to something else. That's a little too heavy. Thank you. Let's see here. I can make some cute earrings for her. Earrings sell pretty good because you can sell them, you know, for pretty cheap. People aren't spending a fortune for something nice for themselves. So let's see here, what else do I got? I've got the most odds and ends of things. I think, does that just usually happen when you get into crafting? Or just, oh, that's heavy, heavy, heavy wire. I was hoping there would be some of the thinner wire in here that I could just wire wrap pretty easily. I thought I had some. I must have accidentally given it to her. Well, would you look at that? I have no clue. Oh gosh, some of this is some of my older overstock. My stars. Yeah, that's my amethyst. Okay. And when I do jewelry, I try to do, you know, some of the nicer pieces too. Let me see. I have some right there. Oh, no, wrong kind. Shoot, shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. All right. So I'm going to see about making some rings. That's a nice late night thing, you know. Hi to those of you who are in. This is a different kind of live stream for me, so kind of bear with me. I don't usually do these. Like I was saying a minute ago, my daughter is starting to sell jewelry, and she's got a craft show coming up. So I thought I would help her. And I'm noticing that's how you can tell something's been thoroughly used. Oh, my stars. So rings are not hard to do. Let me see here. I can make a couple of them for her. Let's see here. For rings, you want a pretty good length because you're going to be wrapping this several times. So, to get out something to measure with here, I've got a board, a jewelry board, that sometimes I actually use. So, I do use it to measure. Okay, that's about 7 inches. Going up to about 9. So you want a good long piece. And when you're doing these things, you want good tools. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. They don't have to be expensive tools. They just have to work really well and be of good quality. Because if they're not, then you're not going to produce a good quality item, whether it's for a friend or a craft show like my daughter's doing. And this is 20 gauge artistic wire that I'm using right now. And I used to like, when I was in the van, and I was doing van life right before I wrecked it, obviously, I used to do some of this in the van because it was just nice to have something to do late at night. Okay, so you fold this in half. You put the bead on it that you want. If you just want one bead, of course, if you want two, go ahead and use two. This is a little bent on the end, so I am going to snip that off. And you're going to put it on your ring mandrel. Normally you can see little notches on my ring mandrel, but I have gotten it a little bit too far, so for you to see easily. So anyway, you put the ring at about where you want it. I'm going to do a number 8 ring. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to wrap the wire around a couple of times. This is so easy, easy. Wrap it around a couple of times. Get it good and tight on here. And then you're going to twist it around the base of your stone. Now in my case, this is a little glass bead. So just twist it around the base once. Take the other side and twist it around the base. And do that a couple of times. and you're going to have it look like that, okay? I kind of think of it as a cat's whiskers, just me. So right now you see that these two pieces are separated. What you're going to do is hold them together. You're going to hold them tight, and you're going to tap these together. Tap, tap, tap. Oops. And that'll help the two wires come together. You're going to tap this again in a few minutes. I'll show you. But you want to make it sure you get it started good. Alright, now we're going to peel this off. You got your cat's whiskers there. And then you're going to take it and you're going to wrap this underneath next to the bead. You're just going to pull it tight. I like to start it with my fingers, and then I will pull it with my pliers. Pull it tight, and then you're going to wrap it around a second time, at least. Okay. On this side, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take the wire, you're going to push it through. I am out of practice, but that's okay. It'll come together. I've heard it's kind of like, whoops, kind of like riding a bike. So you want to get that nice and put in there. So you're going to, okay, so you've just wrapped this wire around the main part of the ring band there. And I'm going to do this one more time on each side. With my wire pliers. Because it's getting firm, so there you go. And you're still continuing with the little cat's whiskers. You've got that. There you go. And on the back of it, you can see how the band is made out of two wires, but you see how they're together like that? That's because of the way you put it. You put it on here and you were able to tap it down. Okay, so this has gotten a little tighter than size 8. So I'm going to push it down a little bit more, just with my fingers there. Now I'm going to tap it. Tapping it makes it a little flatter, but also sturdier. Okay, so now what I'm going to do on this one, there's a couple of different ways you can go. You can either wrap this around and kind of tuck the loose wire pieces in, or you can twist it and make like a little rosette on each side of this. But for this one, all I'm going to do, I'm going to tuck it. Which means you're going to come around to the side of the ring, and you're going to cut this loose wire right up there next to the band. Don't cut the band, because that would be awful. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and these are special jewelry pliers. These are not the needle nose pliers like you would steal out of your husband's tackle box, or maybe have in your own. Okay, all right, so now we've got this little edge sticking up and this little edge sticking up. So all you're going to do on that is you're going to tuck it in. And you're going to make sure when you do this, you're going to make sure of two things. One, you get it tucked in really well. Okay, three things. Tuck it in really well. And you don't want any kind of rough spot on it. So you're going to take your finger and you're going to make sure it's not rough. And I got a little spot right there. So just keep squeezing and tucking. And do that on the other side too. Now this, while you're tucking, this is where some people kind of mess up and they don't mean to. But there is let me trim this just a tiny bit here. A little longer than I wanted. This is where some people can mess up without meaning to. But you don't want to lose track of how many times you've wrapped this wire around. Because what you don't want to have happen is you don't want to have one side with one more wrap than the other. You want it to be nice and even on both sides. The other thing is, while you're wrapping, even though both of the wires are together, you can still, it's easy to do, as you're using and manipulating the tool, it's really easy to accidentally hit these two wires and flip one over the other so it twists. Those are not comfortable. I'm just going to say the twisting is just not comfortable. So to make sure this is round, I am going to put it back on the ring mandrel. I'm going to push it down, and the places where we just where I just trimmed on the edges, we're going to take our little jewelry hammer here and we're going to hit all around, and we're going to hit on the top here. But you want to make sure it's still round because it is wire. And also, like I said, this firms it up. And this is a little bit unusual of a live stream for me, but my daughter has gotten herself into a craft show, and I just thought I'd help her a little bit. She doesn't know I'm doing this, so I hope she likes it. If not, a women's shelter is going to get a lot of jewelry. There's one that I get things for every Christmas. Alright, there you go. Rub your finger over it. Always make sure that you've got all the rough spots gone away, and I do. And actually, let me not put it on the ring finger. Hey, Shazera, welcome. Guys No Paint, welcome. Thank you for the subscribing. I appreciate that. Okay, and so that's what it looks like when you're wearing it. I don't know what she's going to charge for these. With this being silver plated wire, I usually go 12, but that's just me. Or I'll do 2 for $20. That's a nice impulse purchase for someone. And I'm just going to drop it in here. Alright, let's see. I think I'm going to do another one. I think that turned out pretty. Let me see, what else have I got in here? Here's a little one that's copper colored. Little bead. Oh, thank you. What kind of wire should I use for this one? Copper, but do I have a heavier copper? Heavy copper, heavy copper. I have gold. I think that's going to need copper. I think gold's going to be too heavy for it. And I could have sworn I had copper wire right here and right here. Oh, what a day, what a day. Thing is, these are thin copper wires. Do I have it here? I haven't made jewelry in, oh my gosh, maybe a year. But it did give me, when I was in the van doing van life, I would take it and I would take some pieces and some beads and whatnot, and I would make some in the van. And I think it's nice to have a craft or something to do sometimes in the evenings, just kind of relaxing. Sometimes van life, what they don't tell you too often, sometimes van life can get a little stressful. Alright, so I can do that. Okay, that'll work. I'm going to switch this. I'm going to go back to the, I'm not going to do copper. Let me go back to this. I'm going to show you on the sides, you know, I wrapped it in on this one. Well, this one I'm going to do a little differently. And I'll show you. Let me put it here. What did I have on that one? 7 inches, I think, of wire on each side for a total. Okay. Whoa. Alrighty. Am I keeping you up, little doggy? It's okay. I call him little, I know. He's a 110-pound Bernese Mountain Dog, but I still am always going to refer to him as little because I just do, and because as far as Bernese go, he's a little small. But that's okay. We love you. He is my best bud. All right. So put that right in the middle, okay? So where are you all from? We've got 12 people in here. I'm always curious to know where you found me. Okay, I'm going to go up to 7.5 on this one. And I'm going to wrap this just a couple of extra times, just because sometimes people like a sturdier band. And that is a-okay. Time I get it wrapped, I'm going to have four strands, and it's going to come together for the one piece. And so now, see, you have to be careful. See this piece that's kind of hanging down like so? That's a no-go. Big time no-go. Because you don't want it on top of each other. You want it nice and right next to each other. Because if you don't, you'll kind of mess it up. Okay. And there we go. So, again, we've got everything together in the back here. And again, we're just going to twist this wire right around the bead like so, and we're going to keep on going. And this is where I'm going to curse because I see that I have messed up a little bit. Let me back this up. There we go. There we go. All right. So what I did was I almost wrapped it too many times, and you don't want to do that either. So alrighty. On this one, I'm going to take it, I'm going to pull the wire tight, I hope she likes these. So where are you all from? Ah, nobody's told me. Okay, and we're going to tap this all around with our hammer. Okay, slide it off. And we are going to, again, we're going to wrap this, and I usually always start with my fingers because it's just easier for me. I will be switching over to the wire, the pliers, to finish pulling it on through, like so. And again with this one, I'm going to, this side, I'm starting it. Don't poke yourself, because it's wire and that can actually hurt. Okay, and I'm going to pull through a couple of times. So I like to have a thinner little band, but some people like thicker bands. So I just kind of go through and do pretty much anything when I'm making rings. Okay, count and just make sure you've got the same on both sides. Don't make a mistake like that and have the wrong ones. Okay. I don't know what Sir Fluffy is in there doing, but I can hear him all the way in here. The joys of dog ownership. Okay, let me make sure that this is not going on top of each other, because when the wires accidentally go on top of each other, that causes it to be uncomfortable. And the last thing you want, professionally or personally, is something uncomfortable. So you got to go through and fix that when you can. If you go too far in a ring and the wires overlap, you're done for. You just can't fix it. So we're going to put this back on the ring mandrel. I really appreciate you all tuning in tonight. So I'm going to tap these together, going down. And then tap, tap, tap all around. Okay. So we've tapped it all around. And let me show you the difference in what we're going to do here. I'm going to pull this other ring back out that we did. What have you got, sweetie? I hope that's his toy. Okay. Sorry. Okay, I hope you can see this. On the end of this, all I did was wrap this around the wire. On this one, I'm going to kind of spin it around a little bit and make a rosette. And that will secure the wire around to keep it in good shape. And to do that, you just grab the very tip of the wire with your needle nose pliers, and you just twist it around, right around the wires. And you just keep going, 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 and twisting. And you try not to do it on stuck in the middle of the air where you can't see yourself is not the best way to do this. Oh, but I wanted to show you. And there's all different kinds of ways to make rings. It's up to you. This is just how I like to do the little wire rings. There you go. And you're just kind of twisting it. Oops. There we go. And that will make a little rosette right there on the side of the ring. So that's the difference in between the two. Okay, can you see that okay? I hope so. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side of the ring. You just want to make sure as you do this that you get both sides as matching as possible. So there you go. That's it on either side. And hey, I really appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight. Let's see. Streamer wants a golden shower. That's just weird. I'm putting it on here just to make sure it's round again. Because as it's wired, you can get out of shape while you're working with it. And when I did that, I came all the way up to the bead right there when I was hammering and got the rosettes too. So there you go. So that's two down. Da, 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 da. And let's see. I'm going to do a little simple little cloisonne bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I'm not going to do. Yeah, I am. Okay, this I'm going to do a little differently. This is not going to be a ring at all, probably. I'm going to start out doing something different. Okay, we are going to make a cloisonne bead chain for a bracelet. And this one We are going to wrap the wire around itself, just a little bit there. You want to get your loop at an angle like that, okay? Before we go any further, I want to put a clasp on it. That way I won't get too far and forget to do it. Because believe it or not, I have forgotten to put a clasp on it before, and bracelets don't work without clasps. I don't see the clasp that I had in mind. Okay. Well, fiddlesticks. Here we go. I'll put the loop on it on this end. And then I'll get, I think my clasps are over there. But I try to do it on each end as I'm going through doing this, again, so I don't forget. Plus, it's also easier. Okay, and these loops that I'm using are not open. These are closed loops, which means they will, they're not jump rings. You can't twist these and open these, so I feel like they're a little more solid. Let me just change this on my phone real quick. Okay. Alright, somehow or other you all got to black and white, but that's okay. I'm going to trust that I'm coming out on color on your end. I hope she likes these. Okay, so take the loop, just slide it into the little loop that I've made. Alright, now I'm dropping everything tonight. There we go. Drop it into the little loop that I made. And we are going to take the pliers and we are just going to wrap this wire right around itself. There's several ways that you can do this, but and when I get past this point, it actually gets a little easier. Actually, it gets a lot easier because I won't be having to hold. Okay, right now I am trying to put my pliers through that loop so I can wrap the wire around itself by just twisting. And what happens is my wire and my pliers and everything starts jumping around because this first piece, it's the one that's awkward. Okay, and now I'm going to change pliers now that I've gotten that started a little bit finally. And there we go. Some people will use 2 pliers on this. Some people will use 1. And really all the difference it makes is how your hands do. That is it. And for me, for my hands, this is how it works the best. So I don't want anybody fussing at me, okay? My service dog is in there playing with his toy. He's a real sweetie, but I'm up He's up. He just doesn't sleep if I'm up. And let me go ahead and... We had somebody that was being a pain, so I'm going to delete his message again. Okay. So I've got that wrapped a couple of times. I'm going to go ahead and clip it up nice and close. Right up next to the wire, you're going to clip. Push that away. And boom. Now, the rest of this particular piece is, oh my gosh, it is so easy. It is absolutely smooth sailing from here on out. Now for this kind of, it's a chain and it's going to be a bracelet, and for this kind of thing, I do not use spacer beads. I just don't feel like I need to. All right, come here, board. Everything laying here in the way. Do you all do that when you're making crafts or working on a project? Do you all ever have tons of things in the way? Please tell me I'm not the only one. Okay. So, got that. Oh, both of you all are up. Okay. Service dog Pipsy is up. Service dog Sir Fluffy is up. Okay. Now I'm taking the wire and I'm making another loop. And then for this, so simple. I'm just wrapping it same way. Here we go, that's the first one. I'm going to take this, make sure my wires are nice and tight together. Clip that one. Okay. All right, pups. And I'm just going to straighten this up a little bit. Now, after I get this done completely, I do go back through and make sure that everything's tucked in and there are no scratchy elements. That's so important. And so, yay! First bead, first part of the chain. Yay! Okay, let me see here. There we go. All right. So again, and I'm using about the same length each time, so I'm looking at about 3 inches of wire here. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 inches of wire for each one. And you're just kind of make a little J there, and take your pliers, and you're going to go down. Leave yourself enough that you feel like you can wrap it an equal number of times. I'm doing 3 times. Mamma mia. Hey, knock it off. Okay. So you just make that little loop. Put your wire pliers in that loop and just go ahead and twist this wire on top of itself. Pinch it down, so that the layers are all together. Don't pinch yourself. And I've got one more piece I can do. Yep. I'm doing it one more time just with my pliers on the twist because I can't count at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. All right. Clip. Always be careful too when you clip so you don't send your piece of wire flying. And I usually recommend wearing safety glasses if you want to, safety goggles. I should, but I didn't. Okay, so we've got this part. We're just going to put this bead right on it. And we're just going to twist it and go. Now, when you're doing this, one little trick that will stand you in good stead for time and time again is to have a little spot marked on your pliers so you know exactly how you can make the loops consistent. Because I've got mine marked right about here, and I can barely see it. I doubt that there's any way you can, but there is a little Sharpie mark right there. So when I'm doing the wire, I'll just show you. When I'm doing the wire and I'm making a little loop, it gets larger the farther you go in. So the very tiny point on this makes a really small loop. Get back out. Go further down. And it makes a much larger loop. So the thing is, you want to be consistent because consistency is what matters. 2, 3 again. Consistency is what matters. So making your mark on your needle nose pliers will help you get that consistency that you want. And I'm going to go through here and I'm going to use one little wire to measure against the other one, and I'm going to cut several here. I think it will be quicker. Okay. There we go. So that's 2 more, and we're going to do it the same way. I'm just going to go ahead and bend this up a little bit. Slide. Oh, I forgot to trim that. I'll come back in a minute. No, I won't. That's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to clip the end of the wire on that. I forgot to do it. All right. I've already made the U shape. I'm just going to slide this on right there. Put my pliers in up to my mark. And just twist them together. Just say you're twisting one over the other. There we go. And more just for time's sake. The last one, tighten it up, clip it. Now on this one, when I finish the whole piece, I will come back and I will check in between every little bead just to make sure there's no scratch parts or any parts that'll poke you. And again, I'm just putting the pliers in, bending the wire, and then go around it. And push them together. There you go. That huff that you just heard was my service dog. They say that dogs don't pout. I don't believe that. Do we have any pet owners in here or service dog handlers? Tell me if yours pouts. Mine definitely does. Again, bending, bent the wire, put the bent wire through the loop you just made. Needle nose pliers in the loop. Twist, twist, twist. Squeeze them together. That's right. So one of the reasons I really like this style, I really like this style, is because there is nothing to come apart. By the time you get these wires tucked in, they are all affixed together. They're really well wrapped, and so you don't have a lot of what they call jump rings holding this together. So there's nothing to come apart. And I like jump rings, and other people do too, but they come apart. And it's just the nature of the beast. They are wire, and that will happen. And on this, what happens is sometimes the wires will get loose over time, and you just, guess what? You just take your pliers and you just twist them at home. So number 4. But that's what I really like about the design. Okay, and I'm taking my 3-inch wire, and I do go about 1 inch down. Bring it down to my spot and twist it. Hey, you back there, Mr. Pout. Can y'all see him? There he is. Hey, that's your adoring public, Sir Fluffy. He is my mobility and medical alert service dog. He is learning to alert to me. They at the school he went to, they teach him with scent samples, and his foster home would have someone who has like type 1 diabetes or type 2. That way he'll learn the scent, but it takes him a little while to learn that on his new person. So he is still in the process, but he does a wonderful job at his mobility work. Like when I fell a couple of months ago, I bruised my ribs and cracked one, and oh my gosh, I could never, I don't think ever, have survived without a lot of help from family coming to bail me out, basically, if he hadn't been trained for mobility. I was out of state, halfway across the country, when I did that. All right. Another little twist. Because things are going to happen when you travel. And so all you can do is the best you can and make plans. So if something happens, you'll know what to do. Because you never know. Like the last trip to New Mexico, I had, those of you who follow my channel, if you're here, correct me if I'm wrong, but I had, 3 flats and ran out of gas, and or did I have 4 flats? I forgot now. It was 3 flats or 4. Then we had a service dog access issue at a hotel, and I was just like, look, after standing there for 10 minutes, it was obvious I was going to continue to have the problem, so I just told them, I'm like, look, let me out of this reservation without charging me. I will take my business and I will go elsewhere. And the guy was like, okay, no hesitation or anything. I actually have a video update on that coming out, just a little shorts. I talked about that on the live stream one night and forgot that I hadn't posted a shorts update until somebody messaged me saying, hey. And usually I do live streams at 7:30 on Sunday nights, but I just want to make some things to help my daughter, and I thought while I was doing that, I would just come on and talk to you all. And I really appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight. Or this morning, depending on where you are. With me, it's morning. 2, 3. And you can go ahead and tell me what state you're from. Or let's talk about time zones. What time zone is everybody in? Hey, busy lady, what are you doing up so late, girl? Busy lady's like one of my besties on the channel. And she's up late too. Okay, coming up about an inch down the wire, pulling it over. So busy lady, when Stellar Piper was helping me in making jewelry, she made a lot. And so now she's got a craft show coming up. She's never done one before. So I am going to surprise her when she comes in for the weekend. I'm going to give her some pieces that I made that she can sell, just kind of to pay her back for the effort that she put in when I got Pipsy. Okay, you all, I cannot count. And I can't count to loop this. And that is not a 2 a.m. or whatever it is, 1:22 a.m. issue. That's just a me issue. I lose count. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's hers, but I hope she does well. And it's not until August, but she was just a big help to me, so I thought if I could help her back, I would. Dino Poodles is in. Y'all are both up late. It is good to see both of you, too. Dino Poodles is another super gal. So I hope that Stellar Piper likes these. Okay. Now I'm going to measure real quick because we're not too far away from what I want, which is about 7.5 inches. Not at all. I think I'm going to wind up with a perfect number of beads for this bracelet. That'll never happen again. I sent her a link to my new Facebook channel for my YouTube. Did you send me one? I don't think I've seen it. But then I've been running in circles. I will admit it. But send it to me again if you already sent it to me and I didn't respond. Now, I've not been getting notifications on you either. So if you have been making videos, I'm going to go check your channel. So just put that in. 1, 2, 3. Take pliers and tighten that. Hey Tanya, are you still doing craft shows? It's occurring to me that I haven't gotten a notification on you either. So if you're still doing videos, I'm going to go check. There we go. It does get frustrating with the notifications though. Okay, Dino Poodle's not been getting notices on mine. Yeah, I haven't done much this past week. Go back to this one yet. But I've been doing some. I've been traveling so much. I've been kind of getting behind on life. And I can't even say it's been fun travel either. Oh, that's just been the way it is though. Because in March I had to go to Kansas to take Sir Fluffy for class. He needed a refresher. I thought my husband was going to go and get Pipsy certified as a professional therapy dog, but he had something that happened at work and it was sad, but he couldn't go. So that was in March. And in April, we left on our trip to go see the grandbaby. And I won't say that trip was a disaster, but at least we did get to see her. I was talking, I had like 3 to 4 flat tires, and we ran out of gas on the interstate. Had the service dog access problem. But it started out with Sir Fluffy eating what we think was raisins. And so, like, we were supposed to be on the trip, and instead we're having to stay in town near the vet because if he had gotten sicker, he would have had to have been stuck in the hospital. So we wound up having to spend 2 days of our vacation time doing nothing but staring at the dog. But he was okay, but he almost wasn't, but he was okay. So then everything else going wrong was just kind of a challenge. Okay. And believe it or not, I have just the right number of beads for a 7.5 inch. I've got to grab, hang on just a second, I've got to grab my lobster clasp from over here. I think they're over here. Yep. Y'all, I have stuff all over this room. I hope Stellar appreciates all this. So, yeah. Yeah, it was a real problem, Tanya. It really was. The veterinarian said, well, I don't want to really worry you, but he could have died. And I was like, oh. Yeah. So that wasn't really good. But he's fine now, but he basically scared me to death. Did I tell you I'm going to rename him and Pipsy? I'm going to call Pipsy Hot and Sir Fluffy Mess. Because together they're a hot mess. And no, I'm not kidding. They really are. Check ring out here. But I'm sure you're all's getting trouble too. Tanya's laughing. I don't know, Tanya. I don't know who all's in. Right now we have 4 people watching, for which I'm glad. I appreciate you all hanging out. It's almost like I should do more late night live streams. I just thought that while I was on making this stuff for Stellar Piper, I thought I would just come on live for a few minutes and say hi to whoever wanted to come. Busy says she's always here late night. I agree, because I think that like you've hit every late night stream that I think I've ever done. Alright, I'm putting this loop on here. Last loop. Pull it down. There we go, there we go, there we go. And that's what it would look like if it would go, if it would go around my wrist, but of course it won't. But there we go. Tanya, which is Dino Poodle, says that she has been laid up a lot. I am sorry. Broke her arm right below the shoulder joint, dislocated the shoulder joint, fractured the elbow compression fracture in spine. Whoa. You really did a number, girl. Are you okay? Did you have to have surgery? Yeah, I'm with Busy. OMG. Let's see. Trying to decide what I want to do next. I think I'm going to make just some super simple earrings. I got these charms because I thought they were really cute. Laugh, love, faith, courage, dream. I got those, so I think I'll make a couple of quick pairs of earrings for her. Then I might put some on a charm bracelet, I don't know. I hope I don't sneeze. Okay. A dream? No. Courage. Faith. Love, faith, laugh. Wait a minute. I gotta dig through finding them that match. Faith. Hope. Courage. Dream, dream, dream. Why can I never find the ones I'm looking for? I need faith and live. Courage. Oh, there's believe. I gotta get that one. My poor husband, I told him I was going to make some jewelry for Stellar Piper, and he was like, do you still have stuff to make jewelry with? Poor guy. He has no clue. Honestly, I think once you start crafting, you just keep accumulating, and you just keep on going even when you think you're done. Okay, I can only half live because I don't see another one. Oh well, that's okay. I don't seem to have another faith either. That's a lie. There's another faith. Y'all, she's doing some gorgeous stuff, and it's complicated, but I just think that, for me, simple is better. Oh, there's some charms that say family. Great. I can't find another live. Oh well. But they're cute charms, and they all say something on them. There we go. Let's see. Tanya says I went through and actually decluttered my crafts and got rid of some of the things. You got to do that once in a while, or your whole house becomes one big pile of craft stuff. That's where I am. I did lose a little bit. Not a lot. I'm still working on it. But thank you. Thank you for noticing. But yeah. I didn't think anybody would notice. I don't think my husband has, but then you all know how that goes. Enough said on that. Okay, let's see here. I want itty bitty. We got my hair cut when I was in New Mexico with my daughter. We sort of had a little bit of a day of it. We went shopping. I bought some baby clothes. She almost bought baby clothes. I beat her to it. As you know, when you're in Nona, you got to do that. You got to uphold your status there. You got to spoil the grandkid. So, I'm doing my best. But we did the shopping and stuff. Had lunch, had kind of a fun day there. Haven't done that in years. I get back, and my husband doesn't say anything about my haircut. And I thought, well, that's odd. And of course, right away, my daughter's husband recognized hers. And he's like, yours looks good too. And I'm like, thank you. Husband standing right there. Right over his head. After a week, I looked at him and I said, honey, do you not like my hair? And he was like, yeah, I always like your hair. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought maybe you didn't like my haircut. And he looks at me in total seriousness and says, you got your hair cut? He's not winning a prize for Mr. Observation. But then if he'd been real observant, we wouldn't have run out of gas either, so he tries. He tries, and sometimes he's just trying. We'll just say it that way. And I will say that on the interstate, on the side of the road, in 100-degree heat, is not where you want to run out of gas. Just saying. He was oblivious. He was. And I'm looking, I've got it running on the computer and on the phone. I'm filming from the phone because it tends to be more stable. And I'm staring at the computer. And yeah, Tanya earlier said, I guess you can give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe. And then says, her mom does that with her great-nephews. She hires them to come help pick up sticks at $20 each out of the yard. She spoils them. That's good. You need to spoil the kiddos and the grandkids. Yeah, we did. We could have. Fortunately, it all worked out. We had the travel trailer with us. So we were able to go from the car, which was heating up faster than the travel trailer, because what happened was we got a flat tire. I had to pull over to the side of the interstate. And John is like, okay, it's really hot. It's almost 100 degrees. And it feels, heat index was like 102 or something. And he's like, AAA will come, and I'll just keep running the car. And I'm like, honey, how much gas do we have? Because you didn't stop the last exit. And he's like, oh. He said, well, we're going to be fine. And I'm like, no, honey. So come to find out, we had less than an eighth of a tank of gas, and AAA was going to be over an hour to get to us. So probably about 20 minutes later, his car kind of chugged. And I told him, I'm like, that's it. you're running. And he's like, no. And about the time he says no, I'm like, just shut the car off. And it had just died. So we had to call AAA back. Fortunately, we've got the AAA where they'll bring out gas, but they'll bring out 3 gallons of gas. So by the time we kind of primed the engine and got it going, I said 3 is not gonna work. So I asked the guy with AAA, I'm like, how many gallons can we buy from you and make sure we get where we're going? And he's like, well, he said, I've got 5 gallons on the truck. You can buy all 5. And I'm like, sold. And he was like, well, it's going to be, I'm like, I don't care. Just sell me, I don't care. Just sell me the gas. So it was like, I think it was like 7.5 or so for the gallons of gas that AAA didn't cover. And I'm like, I don't care. Compared to standing on the road or being stranded on the road, anything's a bargain. So, yeah. But I don't know. I'm probably not going to let him live it down. Not for a while, anyway. No point. But yeah, if we hadn't had the RV with us, because see, we were heading back home, the whole situation would have been a lot worse. Yeah, Tanya says, gee, that's so dangerous. I'm glad you all are okay. Me too. It was tense. It was, I was tense. But fortunately, with having the travel trailer, we didn't have air conditioning, but we had the opportunity to open the windows and run fans that we really didn't in the car because the car was a lot hotter. And we had the bathroom. We had water, we could get a cold drink. I mean, that part of it I was thankful for, but not having to be there, I was not. Hey, Basil the Dragon, welcome. Welcome, it's good to see you. And all of you all that are watching, if you could give me a like on this live stream, I would really appreciate it. Because YouTube looks at all that. But you know, honestly, I really feel like whenever I go out somewhere, I always run into something kind of disastrous like that. Or not real, I won't say that was disastrous. It was close to disastrous. Close. I just had the loops in my hand. What did I do with them? Did I put them again? Oh, good grief. They're staring here right at me. Oh, I only do that 100 times. And on these, I'm just going to make them plain. These say family. I might have to make myself a pair that says family. I like that. Because nothing's more important than family when you've got healthy family. Some of us don't have the healthiest family, so we have to create our own. Let's see here. Back. Okay. Those are just going to be simple little earrings. I think they're cute. Like I said, I hope she likes them. But she's getting items for free that she can sell and keep the money on. So surely to goodness she'll like that part of it at least. Let's see. Uh, Tanya says her friend used to tell her close only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes. You do have a point there. I have heard that all my life. And she says, oh, I remember making jewelry. I had to redo two big wind chimes for my sister for the hotel she worked at. And talk about it took 2 days per winter trim. Wind chimes, sorry. She says they were for a wedding and the couple was from India. So we had to put the red beads on an elephant, stuff like that. It's a fundraiser. Wow. That would be, my hat is off to you. Because that sounds like it would be really complicated. But if anybody does complicated well, it's you, because you do a good job on everything. Now this is odd. Some of these are on both sides, some of these are printed on one side. I rather like consistency. Oh well. Look at that, courage on both sides. Believe on one. Oh. And she says, sorry, typing with my left hand isn't easy. Speak to text is always misbehaving. And she says, thank you so much. It's the truth. It's also the truth that speech to text does misbehave. And she says, incidentally, that's what I told my mom when I got back from the hospital after my accident. I even do the bad stuff really well. No. Keep good stuff. Good stuff. Think positive. We're going to turn it around. I tell you, I'm going to declare a moratorium on bad stuff happening to either one of us, okay? No. We're going to include no more hurricanes, no more floods, no more bad weather. And she says, I really did like doing the wind chimes, but it really hurt my hand. I don't know if you have that problem when you're using pliers, it can hurt. It goes numb. My hand goes numb. And that's when I quit for a while. She says, I got home from the hospital because, they didn't even know some of the things that they found later, like my shoulder was out of joint for 4 weeks. That is not good. I'm not even going to get started on medical care. Yeah. I was in Kansas when I fell and bruised my ribs. Going to that little hospital in Kansas was one of the strangest experiences of my life. And it really showed me how much I take things for granted. Of course, we don't have a good hospital where I live. It's only 2 beds. 2. Not 20, not 22. 2. And we don't have necessarily the best ER, but the one in Kansas real tiny Kansas hospital. That one was just odd. Like, I think even the Alaska hospitals that I've seen have been a little bit more professional than this one. Now, the nurse was great. Okay, the nurse was phenomenal. But I'm not used to not being able to really tell where I go into the hospital as far as an ambulatory patient. So, I mean, here it's always really well laid out, but there I was standing in the middle of the parking lot calling the emergency department saying, okay, I see the big sign, but it looks like it's over like a loading dock where for ambulances. And I said, I don't see anything that indicates for ambulatory, and I don't see just a regular entrance. And she said, come on under where it says emergency room, where the ambulances are. And she said, you'll see this big pallet when you get close next to an old, I don't remember now, she said desk, refrigerator, whatever. And when you turn right, that's the sign that's the door that you come in, but there's not a sign right there. There used to be, but it blew off. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I go into the emergency department, and I had to register at the nurse's station. They didn't have a registration desk. And I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. So I go in, and the nurse talks to me, who was very nice, very professional, really give her really high marks. And she's like, okay, well, we've called the doctor, and he's on his way in, and once he gets here, we'll have him come on in and see you. And I was like, what? So she repeated it. And they didn't have a doctor in the hospital. He was X number of minutes away and on his way in. And I was like, oh, so is he running late for his shift? No. He's on call. We just call the doctor when we need him. He has to be here within, I think she said 15 minutes. And I'm thinking, I really hope this isn't an emergency. So yeah, it was so strange. So anyway, going back, she says, Mom and I are reviewing the different medical care available. I might have to switch a doctor up near St. Louis. That's going to be a drive. Yeah. And you're going to have traffic to deal with, too. We just came through St. Louis about a week ago. I had to go back to CARES in June. St. Louis traffic was nuts. Mom said she thought my hand was turning blue. The only reason it went back in because I accidentally fell and landed on it. Tanya, no more falling. No, no, no. And says 2. And Natalie, hi Natalie, welcome. So sad. And Tanya says, I cannot actually be called a hospital, no offense. And then Tanya says, oh dear, what? Yeah, that would have really worried me. He wasn't there, holy cow. Yeah. So like, over in Alaska, they either have doctors there or nurse practitioners for the most part, but you know, when I was up in Alaska, they didn't always have a doctor right there either. And I guess that thought I don't think bothers me as much as the Kansas hospital, because I think with Alaska you kind of expect that, and you don't expect that in Kansas. But I was in a rural place, so and he took care of me. I mean, I don't think he really understood that I was by myself, though, as far as like on the trip. because he was like, well, who's taking you home? And I was like, that would be me. And he's like, oh, it's the whole thing just kind of confused him. And he was like, oh, you don't have anybody with you? And I'm like, no, I'm here out of state by myself. And he was like, oh, okay. Are you visiting someone? Not really. I'm here for a service dog class, because this was in March. And he was like, well, you said you came from Tennessee. And I was like, yeah. And it just, he couldn't, he just didn't get it. But that's okay. He discharged me anyway. And I got home. I actually spent the car in the night, one night coming home though. It was hurting so much. And I called my husband and I'm like, this was a few days after I fell and bruised and cracked. I told him, I said, sitting up is a lot better than laying down. And I said, I just don't think I want to pay $100 plus for the privilege of sitting up in a chair all night. So I'm just going to sleep in the car. And he's like, I can't believe you're doing that. And of course I was like, really, honey, this is me. So it was crazy. But if Sir Fluffy hadn't been with me and doing all the mobility stuff that he was supposed to do just perfectly on that, I don't know what I would have done. Of course, it was his fault I was up there, but I don't know what I would have done. Oh, brilliant. And Tanya, you want to laugh? Guess where I fell and bruised my ribs? The parking lot of the class. It's like, I'm like, sure, let me walk around the room, holding my side, trying to breathe. And it was like, never mind, I'll just watch. So I did let him, this happened on Tuesday after class, so I was able to let him see everybody, but I skipped out on a bunch of stuff, but I thought, all timing. Busy, you're cooking chili and lentils up this late at night? Are you mass cooking for the week? Or bulk cooking? I do that sometimes. It makes life easier. Let me see here. What have I got over here? I am out of earring papers. Oh well. Stellar can figure that out. Are these for earrings? No. Alright. This is going to be interesting. Oh well. I'm about to use necklace holders for earring holders. But Stellar Piper can fix it when she gets it. This will at least keep them safe. As long as I don't poke myself too hard. But yeah, let's see. Anthony. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. No, no, she's not doing a fundraiser. She has gotten herself into a craft show, and she's excited about it, but she's also nervous that she won't have as much jewelry as she needs for the craft show. So she does not know this, but I'm making some for her to give her, because she was so helpful with my stuff when I was raising money for the dog. So I thought I've got some supplies, and I thought I would just make her some things and help her out in return. She didn't ask for it or anything. I just kind of wanted to surprise her. She's coming home for the weekend. Hey. Let's see. And Anthony, I'm looking at two screens here. I'm looking at the computer and on my phone. I'm just making sure I don't miss something in the chat and using my phone to broadcast. So, go back here. Yes, Archer comes in 15 minutes and checks on me and then goes back in the other room. Anthony says, good evening, good morning. Yeah, Tanya says she remembers the parking lot well. Anthony says he's glad I'm okay. Thank you. It all worked out. It was just really strange. The two dogs get along. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like the first day, we were like really worried because we had been, kind of cautioned about all these bad things that could happen, and they could snap at each other and be grumpy at each other and neutral territory and all that stuff. So, when we first got Sir Fluffy, we made sure John was there with service dog Pipsy, okay? I got a hotel room for the first 3 days because we weren't sure how they would go. And I was really nervous about introducing them. Well, I didn't have to be nervous at all. Those two little boogers, from like the first sight of each other, were like jumping up and down. They were doing the whole play thing. They started running what they could in the hotel room. It was just like they were best buds and had been best buds. And so on the car ride home and everything, no problem. Now, a couple of times at home, Pipsy has put Sir Fluffy in his place. And it's kind of funny. We're feeding them in separate parts of the kitchen. And for those of you who don't know about my service dogs, I have a little yellow lab and I have a Bernese Mountain Dog. So the lab is 72 pounds and the Bernese Mountain Dog is almost 110 pounds. So there's a little bit of difference in the size. So we feed them in separate parts of the kitchen and 2 different amounts of food. So Pipsy is always finished a lot faster than Sir Fluffy. So if we don't watch him, he'll go over to Sir Fluffy's bowl and stick his nose in it while Sir Fluffy is eating, and he'll just kind of push his way around until Sir Fluffy can't get in the bowl anymore. And Pipsy is just chomping down, and then Sir Fluffy winds up sitting going, what just happened here? So they're so funny. Let's see. We were talking about food, and Tanya says she and her mom just use the crock pot. The crock pots are wonderful. And see, that's one thing. Like when I had the van, I loved it. And I could go ahead and put my crock pot and sit it in the sink of the morning, and then by the time I was ready to stop for late afternoon for lunch, it was already cooked. I didn't have to do anything. Oh, good. That's okay that you're not going back. The main thing is you find one that's going to work for you. This one will take longer to pay. I got it. I wish her luck from you. And Tanya said I didn't even think about doing fundraisers. I've just been paying a little bit at a time, and we're keeping track with a spreadsheet. I'm going through Rambler Service Dogs out of Texas. My friend owns it, but she's going to do a lot more custom training. I still think your Pipsy is related to Archer. He looks like a smaller version of my big guy. And she says, LOL, glad that they get along. And she said, I got a really nice lightweight crock pot off of Temu, and it's non-stick, and we love it. That's awesome. I've got like a little bitty, I don't know, I think it's a 1 quart, little bitty one, on up to like a 6 or 8 quart. It's the biggest one I could find. Because when we did a lot of dinners at the church we had, I was the crock pot queen for those. So hey you all, I appreciate you being here. If you're new, welcome, and please don't forget to give me a like on a live stream. That really makes a difference for YouTube. I see we've got a couple of people in. Crock pots are great though, because you just put it on and you don't even have to think about it. It's done. What kind of things do you cook in yours, Tanya? I do mostly soups. Tanya says Mom is noticing her health and memory having issues more and more, so she's going to pay for her cremation plan just to get it off her list of things to do. I think that's nice. My grandmother did that, and that part was just nice. We didn't even have to. We didn't have to worry at all. Now, Tanya, if you do a fundraiser, if you do one, let me know. I'll send you some stuff. And of course, I'll have to go shopping at your fundraiser. Tanya says she does a lot of soup, and she just now gotten to where she can wear her teeth 2 years after all my teeth got pulled. I just now got to where I can start wearing my dentures. So I've been eating a lot of soup. That makes sense. I'm glad you finally gotten to where you can wear those dentures. I think I'm starting to fall asleep. Yeah, Stellar Piper's definitely going to want to put these on different earring cards, but at least it'll get the earrings picked up, and she can worry about it later. Like I said, I just want to give her a few things to get her started. Okay, we have Hope. So hope, laugh, dream, faith, courage, believe, love, family. So that plus the couple of rings and the bracelet, that'll help her get some things done. Okay, Johnny says, ever since I had my weight loss surgery 9 years ago, my stomach has been really tender, so I eat a lot of soup, beef stew, chicken and dumplings, roast, that kind of thing. Says I've been making beaded pins and keychains and selling them for $7 each in my friend's craft store, antique store. Oh, I bet those are pretty. Do you have that on your channel? I'm going to have to go back and check up on your channel. And she says that her health doesn't heal as quickly as other people, that's all. And when he pulled all the teeth, he fractured my jaw, so it took a long time to heal. Tanya, I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine that. This is for a long time. She says, you do wonderful work. I haven't bought anything from you in a while. I haven't had to do anything in a while. I have some beads and stuff left from where I was raising money, so I thought, why not help her out? She says, nicely done. Thank you. You should do a necklace with one of each of those on it, and they can switch the earrings out as they want to. They'll match the neck. Oh, that's a good idea. She hasn't done anything since March on her channel. That's why I haven't gotten updates. She says she's either been under the weather, and then just her health has been in flux, and when not in flux, I'm keeping an eye on Mom. You've got a lot going on. You've got a whole lot going on. So I wouldn't blame you for not making jewelry either. Hopefully you won't be under the weather anymore, though. Like I said, no more being sick, no more bad things happening to us. We're gonna just, life's gonna be smooth sailing. We're just gonna tell ourselves that, and we're gonna go with it. So yeah, Mom and I have been talking about things and getting house repairs done because she knows I want to sell it and probably have to move up near St. Louis for better doctors after Mom passes. That makes sense. And honestly, there are two things that I feel like you have to move for, and that is good medical care if you're in a place where they don't have it or you can't access it. So I feel like moving for good medical care. And the other thing is jobs. If you're working and there's not jobs in your area, then I feel like that forces you to move, which is really sad. But that's just kind of the way of life. And I remember getting some people mad at me when my kids were younger and I had to go out of state because my oldest daughter's Taylor Piper, for those of you who don't know, she's got epilepsy, and she's an old adult now. Old, haha, we joke about it. She's almost 40. But anyway, she has epilepsy, and some of the people where I was were really mad because I took her out of state. And I told them, I'm like, I have to go where the doctors are. I mean, she's a kid. She deserves the best chance that she can get in life. And I couldn't believe that they got mad, but it all worked out. But I was just like, really, people? Really? So I don't blame you for looking at going to St. Louis. And she says, I can use my degree and work volunteer hours at a crisis nursery, and that could lead to a job later on. There you go. There you go. My sister does not want me to sell the place, but it's too much for me. In that case, tell her to buy you out, and you can sell it to her. She can find out what market value is. Because if she doesn't want you to sell it and you need to sell it, that's really her only other option. through these charms. I still want to do a live. No, I don't. Let's see what other charms I've got. Because if it's your place to live and you've got a life to lead, then you have to do what's best for you. And I don't know why she would, I guess I do kind of see why she wouldn't want you to sell it, but you've got to do what's best for you. And Tanya says, get my doctor's hair. They say no about cerebral palsy. And then they ask me how to spell it in the next breath. They don't know how to help me. Okay. And then there's a clinic, there's specialty clinics in St. Louis that knows what I'm facing. And see, that is so important. And she says, Archer is 9. He's got health problems. He's got arthritis really bad. He can't do too much. The other 2 dogs of my mom's are 9 and 13. Tilly will be the only one left soon. She's only 3. Yeah, see, that's one thing about Sir Fluffy. Bernese Mountain Dogs have a really short lifespan. And when I think about that, it makes me very sad. But it also makes me value him a little bit more, I think. Not that I wouldn't value him, but you know what I mean. But he's got... the lifespan is between 6 to 8 years. Supposedly, allegedly, they'll go to 10, some of them. But he's 2 already. And, you know, I've got Pipsy over here, and he is 5. And so that means they could wind up passing away at around the same time. So, that's going to be tough. And it's going to be tough for you, too. She says, I wonder about that. How is he working out for you? She says, Archer is like 9 to 12 years, but he's also 113. He's a giant dog, you know, dogs in that area of lifespan. And she said, for those who don't know, Aunt is Archer is her service dog from Cares. And that's Archer. Yeah. Sir Fluffy's doing okay. We've had some challenges. You know, he likes not sharing the bed. I was asleep the other day in the chair, and I don't know if he wanted attention or if he actually wanted to just play, but all of a sudden, the blanket that I've covered up with is going away, and he is pulling it off of me, and he is going through the house with my blanket, and I called him, and he turned around and came, and he brought it to me, so he did great. He's a little uncertain, though, about, like, getting out of the car and being at Walmart, but when I need this dog, he is right there, and he does exactly what he's supposed to. So I feel like he just needs more exposure to Walmart and stuff, but he has had 2 refresher classes, and that seems to have helped. But so yeah, but you know, right after we got him, well, not right after, we got him in October, and we had some late snow, like I'm gonna say maybe a month later, around probably Thanksgiving or so, because it was kind of late, and I had him, and I thought, well, he'll be okay off leash in the yard, and then I thought, no, I'm going to go ahead and put him on the strap. So we have a 1/2 inch nylon lead that I will put him on when we're outside. I've done it for Pipsy forever because I don't want them going deep into the woods or turning around, getting in the front yard or in the neighbors or whatever. And Pipsy went taking off after a deer one day, and so when he goes, and like I can call him 4 or 5 times before he figures out he has to come home. So I'm out there with Sir Fluffy, and he's on the lead, and he takes off running, and that lead snaps. And I'm like, oh my God. So I called him, and he turned around and he looked at me, and then he kind of meandered over to the side and started slowly thinking about heading my way. And so I take a step because I'm like, I'm going to go get this dog. And so I take a step. I'm in the snow, hit a little low spot in the snow, face plant. And I landed on my wrist and re-broke it. I had broken it in June, fell, broke it again, and I hollered at him, and he looked at me, and when he saw that I was on the ground, he came running like a demon possessed. And we still have trees that are down that haven't been picked up, like in the woods right behind my house. So he quite literally is jumping over logs to get to me. And he is just flying as hard as he can go to get to me. And then he came, he leaned up against me. I didn't like push down on him a lot, but I did kind of lean and kind of balance a little bit. And right there, absolutely perfect. He walked right next to me. When I had to stop for a second, he leaned up against me. Just absolutely perfect. And then when I fell in the parking lot, perfect again. I mean, so I know he's got potential. He just gets a little spastic when we're out sometimes. But I'll take it, and I'll keep working with him because it means a lot. As you know, it means a lot to be able to rely on a dog. And I feel like I can do that with him. Okay, I'm going to go back, I think, and make another ring. And I think I'm going to do probably 2 more of these and call it good for the night. Let's see. She says, Tanya says, I worry most about Tilly with her brain damage and her puppy attitude, and she is so attached to Arthur, but it's going to be difficult for me. Blanket thief, love it. Yeah, he was a turkey. Yeah, I'm telling you, hot and mess. That's what they're going to be called. My next dog will be a German short hair pointer. Those are supposed to be really smart dogs. Really smart. And then she says, oh wow, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Well, you know, the thing about that fall is it was just like anybody could fall in the snow, right? So I didn't have to feel completely stupid. The next time when I broke my wrist, I just hit a low place in the yard, and boom, I went over. So yeah, 3 times in 12 months I broke my wrist. She said, that's good, he did that, you know, leaned up against you and everything came running. That's wonderful. She said, my favorite leash is that leather one we got from Cares when I got him. I freaking love that leash. I'm with you. I'm not going to do the weight bearing like Archer does. I'm going to do counterbalance with my next dog because it seems to work better for me at this point with my health. And then she says we both need to be bubble wrapped. Girl, ain't that the truth? I think so. What did I do with my little... I've got so much stuff out here now that I am losing what I had in my hands. Oh, Mama Mia. Alright, what'd I do with it? Whoops. There it is. So, yeah. I don't know how big the sheets are for bubble wrap, but it's worth thinking about. All right. I'm just going to do her a couple of little rings here, I think. Whoops. One, two. Well, let me see here. There we go. Okay. So she says, we both need to be bubble wrapped, and she had to hide Archer's gear and hide Archer's mobility harness because he can't use it anymore. It upsets him. He wants to use it, and he dragged it around. And said she couldn't believe she had to file forms with the hospital and the ambulance district because they considered it a particular wreck, and so I had to fill out forms that there was no other party involved. They considered it a vehicle accident. She said, you've moved a lot of my advice because when my mom passes, my sister and I aren't close, so I'm going to be alone, and if I move for health care, it's going to be very new. Yeah, but sometimes you have to do that. I mean, you have to go where the doctors are. You know, just like the person who was mad at me, and she was like, well, we have doctors here, and I'm like, well, yeah, we do, but they're very negative. And I said, and we went over to North Carolina, and we had just lived in North Carolina, but in the time that we left, we'd been gone a couple of years, when I saw that Stellar Piper really needed to go to a different doctor. And in the time that we had left, North Carolina, UNC, Chapel Hill, had developed an epilepsy center. So they had all kinds of specialists, of course, and also the subspecialists, and we didn't have that where we were. And I'm like, she's a kid, and as a parent, I felt like it was, you know, my duty to her to get her the best care that we possibly could, and that meant going back to North Carolina. And I don't know why they cared, but they just did not appreciate it one little bit. But it changed my daughter's life. Because the doctor here was so negative. I mean, he was a good doctor, don't get me wrong. He was actually a great doctor. But I think he had just seen so much of people who had a more limited viewpoint. And he told Stellar Piper, for example, this was way back when she was in high school, and it flew all over me. She had wanted to go away to college, and he was like, no, most people with your type of epilepsy go to the community college and let their parents just drive them back and forth. And I mean, that's fine if that's how you want to do it, but her goal, her dream was to go away to college. And she wasn't sure she was going to be able to do that, and she came out of the doctor's office crying, and that's when I was like, okay, we got to do something else. So took her back over to UNC, to the doctor there at the epilepsy center, and it made all the difference in her life. So I'm a huge believer in going where the best doctors are. And he was not only good, but he actually listened to her, which, as you know, is huge. So Yeah. When he asked her what she wanted to do, she said that she guessed she would have to go to the community college and let me just be her transportation. And as she said that, she just drops her head down and she starts to tear up. And the doctor said, he snapped his fingers at her and he said, "Young lady, I didn't ask what you thought you had to do. I asked what you wanted to do." And she sat up like a rocket and she's like, "I want to go away to school." And then he said, and this will always stick with me, he said, "It is my job as your doctor to help you get there." It made all the difference. So, yeah. She said, "You've moved a lot. Any advice? Because when my mom passes, my sister and I aren't close, so I'm going to be alone, and if I move for health care, it's going to be very new." Yes. And she said, "Yeah, they won't even give me any epilepsy meds because they don't know how to diagnose it with cerebral palsy." And she says that was rude of him to say that because she didn't limit herself like that, right? And says, "Oh, wow, that's a great attitude. I like that doctor already." Yeah, he was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And they had to put her in the hospital for a week to help determine which part of her brain was misfiring. And for us, it was difficult because we took her to North Carolina for the initial, we took her for the hospitalization, we took her for the follow-up, we took her for a follow-up again later, just like every 3 months and then 6 months and then a year. But was that year that we had her in the hospital in North Carolina, we also wound up having Sam my younger daughter, in the hospital in Knoxville from where she got something wrong with her stomach. They never did decide what. But that was an interesting year for medical bills. But you just roll with it. You just roll with it. But, yes, one of the things, though, that was interesting is how many people are really negative about health things. And, I just kind of feel like health issues are going to happen this day and age. Everybody's got something wrong with them. That's what I tell the kids all the time. And you just got to figure it out. But on moving, I would start paring down and downsizing my stuff as soon as possible. Every time we find out we're going to move, I start going through saying, okay, I want to keep this, I don't want to keep that. And then every single thing that I can come up with that I'm going to make another ring here. Every single thing that I can come up with that I don't want, I either put on Facebook Marketplace or give it away. I'll donate it to a women's shelter. If they can't use it, I'll give it to a thrift shop, because that gives you money to move on, and that is so helpful. Because if there's ever a time when you need money to move on, hold on. If there's ever a time when you need money, it's when you're moving, to have it to move on, because lots of extra meals out because you're exhausted and stuff like that. So, yeah. So if you go through first, that's the best thing to do. And even if you don't sell it immediately, if you have a plan for what you want to sell, that still helps a lot. And of course, we usually know, when we're moving, we get a couple of months heads up And so what I like to do, the other thing that I like to do, and it really helps, is I go ahead and start buying gift cards each month. Not necessarily big ones, but like if I go to McDonald's, I'll get a McDonald's gift card, or Wendy's, I'll get a Wendy's gift cards. And not necessarily in huge increments, but $5 or $10 on a gift card is not a huge deal. But when I'm moving and I've got all those expenses, then that $5 or $10 can be a big deal. And having those gift cards really take a lot of pressure. Really takes a lot of pressure off. So that, and getting somebody to save their newspapers so you can have it for packing material is a big deal. And we always call the liquor store, just arrange, see about getting boxes from them, because they are so much sturdier than just about anything else that you can find, even the boxes that you buy. But I'm actually anti buying boxes. Just not my thing. Too many places give them away, and it's better for the environment to reuse the boxes, so that's what I do. So hopefully if you have to move, it's far in the future, and you'll have time to put things together like that. Let me snip this. So our Fluffy has come back in. Okay. Right. I never want to be unprepared. Once was enough. I understand that. These are great tips. Thank you. Okay. I was unprepared when my best friend died. We were both 35, and I had no idea even where the checkbook was because of my seizures. I couldn't live alone. I don't want to be through that again. Sure. She says banana boxes from Walmart work really good too because they're sturdy. We didn't have any luck getting boxes from Walmart because I don't know if they're all this way, but the one by us sold them to a recycler, so we didn't have any luck with that. But the liquor store came through in a big way. And I said something mean, kind of, not really mean, but I made a smart alecky comment without even thinking about it, because that's my MO sometimes. And when we were moving into the place, somebody said something about it being a liquor box. And I was like, yeah, I said, that's actually one of my favorite brands. And she just kind of looked at me and goes, oh, I've got to go over there and see if I can help them a minute. And I was like, I'm kidding. I really don't drink. It doesn't go with my epilepsy meds. And she was just like, oh, okay. But that poor lady just did not know what to think. But I just popped off at the mouth just like I thought I was supposed to. Oops. Oh my gosh, Pipsy is so small compared to Archer. Yeah, he is, because you said earlier Archer was like 95 to 100 pounds. And he's like, well, I think the last time we took him, he was like 72 pounds. So, yeah. I was saying, walk around behind you, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's tiny. Yep. She said, saw her, seen whatever. Hey, busy lady says, you're still here. Yeah. How funny. Sent sparkles for 2 jewels. Thank you. Busy says, I use those and I drink. Okay. I've got nothing wrong with drinking. It just doesn't go with my head. And Tawny says, I don't really want to think about not having Mom. And she's okay right now, but she's declining and she knows it. We're just trying to get everything repaired and everything. And that makes sense. Even if she's not declining, having your repairs done is huge. It's just one thing you don't have to worry about. And after this, going through this hurricane and seeing how the insurance companies, some of them have done with some of the folks about their home repairs, I'm a big believer now, more than ever, in not putting things off if you can afford it. Because they've been really bad for some people. And what some of them tried to do was claim that some of the damages were pre-existing before the hurricane, even if they weren't. But it just seemed like if somebody had a small something wrong with their house before Helene hit, then the insurance companies, some of them, wanted to blame everything on that small issue. And that's just not right. But anyway, I probably shouldn't say that much about that, because I could say negative things about the hurricane experience forever. And we've all got our own stories on that. Anybody who's been through it or had a friend go through it. And that was in 24. Everything should be settled by now. But for a lot of people, it's not. Yeah. What are you doing? And let's see. Tony says, my mom moved into this house when she was in 9th grade in 1950. Wow. And Tanya says, answer, my family's been the only one to own this place, and the water heater was replaced 2 years ago, and it was the original water heater. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. They don't make water heaters like that now. We don't get good stuff anymore. We get stuff that has to be replaced and things like that. Whoops. Now, I just saw a bead that I want to use, and just like that, I dropped it. Oh well. I'm going to attempt to make a UT Balls orange and white ring at a later date. We're in UT Balls country, so that's just how that is. Okay, what did I just do? There it is. Let's see. Her puppies are so cute. Thank you. Yeah, they're cute and they're sweet and they're helpful, unless they're pulling that blanket off of me or getting into trouble otherwise. She says, I gotta say my grandparents kept it in good repair. That's good. She said it's just too city, lots in town with a lot of trees, and you have to go down a lot of steps to get to the backyard, plus a lot of roots, and it's hard for me to get around the backyard to take care of. Gotcha. And there's never really any help for that either, it seems like. We have an older lady that's having a hard time with her yard, and some church members have gone over several times to help her with it, which is fun. They like doing it. But she doesn't really like them to do it because you could tell it bothers her to have to ask. But there's no, other than like church members doing that, there's nobody else out there that, there's not an agency that does it. And that's kind of sad. But yet, if you have problems, the first thing it seems like a city wants to do is threaten to send you a little bill or a big bill and send you a notification on your yard. It's just like cities kind of just don't care sometimes. Of course, they're not in the business of having to care either. I guess that makes a difference too. She says she wishes her church would be like that. Oh, I'm sorry your church isn't. But this church has been really good about helping people. Just really, really good about helping people. And the last church that we had was like that too. But this community, oh my gosh, since Hurricane Helene came in, I will say I have never in my life seen a community pull together like this one did. Never, 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 never. This was not our first disaster. Now, it was our first disaster of anything this size, but I mean, we've been through, hubby and I have been through other disasters. Tornadoes, a hurricane out in North Carolina, and whatnot, but never have I ever heard of a community coming together like this. And it's been really something to see. And they're still at it. You know, we've still got homes that are being rebuilt, and volunteers from here are still helping each other. And of course, we've had some help come from, other places. Not really so much from FEMA, but Samaritan's Purse and whatnot. And I think Samaritan's Purse is still working here too. Corps. So I think just, you really saw that mindset of helping each other really came through. And I do wish everybody had that opportunity, because then, I shouldn't say opportunity, I wish everyone would come together like that in their community for other things, like helping people take care of their yards when they really are not physically able to. And this church does it just because that's just what they do. That's just how they show love. Alright, so I went ahead and did an orange and white ring, and I don't like it. Don't like it one little bit. And Tanya says, let me go back to this. That's why I was thinking of a condo, so I wouldn't have to worry about the lawn care. And I only have Tilly. She uses potty pants. I hate to say she's not smart enough to learn how to go outside. We had her brain scanned. And Busy Lady says, Gail, I'm trying to get monetized by my birthday in October. I will go back to your channel. I am not getting notifications on your channel. But I will go keep watching on that. Keep watching for that. And I'll go visit your channel. And so what you'll see happen is I'm going to unsubscribe from your channel, and then I'm going to resubscribe and see if that will trigger the algorithm to send me notifications. But if I miss something, you don't hesitate. Go over to the Facebook group and post a link. I mean, we can support each other over there too, so don't hesitate to post your link. If you think it's going to be something that will interest some of the folks, go right ahead. You too, Tanya. How many people are you away from monetization? Or do you need watch time? Which is your biggest need? And Tanya says, I just unsubscribed and resubscribed from Busy Lady's channel. Hopefully that will help me out so I can get the notifications as well. Okay, and Busy Lady says, that's a reason I made Facebook. And she says she has enough subs. She needs watch hours. I'm at 1K in watch hours. Okay. And Tanya says, do you have a playlist or longer videos or something we could put out and watch to help with your watch time? So, hopefully you'll get that watch time. I'll see what I can do about playing it, because I want to catch up anyway. So that'll help. And getting those notifications will help a lot. You got it. You got it. And like I said, if I miss one, send me a little PM or whatever. Okay. What is the name of your... Do you want to just go ahead and drop your Facebook link in the chat? I'm up for you to do that. Feel free. That way maybe we've got a few people watching, so maybe somebody else will be interested in your channel too. Oops. Now I'm just doing an orange ring. I'll have half of the UT balls. But it's Busy Lady across the board. Okay. Appreciate all your help, lady. I don't think I can do that on my phone. All my computers are down, so I'm using my phone for everything. Okay, let me see if I can get it. I don't know. I'm on the computer, so... So I'm unsubscribing and resubscribing, okay? And I've got your channel link right now, okay? So there's your channel. That orange bead will look good with a tiger eye bead. Might try that. Or gold. Might work. I was going to do the orange and white because that's UT colors. And I'm going to do some in probably University of Kentucky as well. And I don't know what Alabama's colors are. But if she uses these, then probably somebody, hopefully, will support the football team enough to want a ring in their colors. I don't know, you never know. I'm just glad she's coming in for the holiday. It's also going to be my birthday on the 8th, so we're going to, kind of do double celebrating there. July is a weird month in my family, so it's always good to see her, but it's more helpful in July than some other times. We've got my mom's birthday would have been the 5th, and my maternal grandfather, who helped raise me, his birthday was the 12th, and my maternal grandparents' wedding anniversary, theirs was the 14th. But it's also weird, my dad's birthday was in July, and of course he's passed away now too. But his birthday was the 18th of July, and both of my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, also died on the 18th of July. Of course, several years apart, but it's just kind of a weird dynamic there. And then I have another uncle who also passed away. I have like no family. But he also passed away, and his birthday was in July also. Just weird. Okay. She said I could also do a small gold spacer between the orange and the white. Just bring it up a little bit. That's an idea. Could be. Could be. Tanya says I used to love 4th of July, but now I just use noise canceling headphones. Gotcha. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, those anniversaries probably been good and bad memory. Losing family is tough. Yeah, it does. It does. It's just weird the way it all happens. And like the 18th, I'm just like, what the crap? And then I have a second cousin who's getting married this year in July, also on the 18th. And I was like, really? Like, should I go play the lottery with those numbers or something? It's just weird. Hey, Farzan, welcome. Greetings. Greetings, welcome. I'm not usually up this late. I'm just live streaming, and actually I'm probably going to need to go in a few. Huff, huff. I heard that. I got a pouty dog over here. I don't care what the dog trainers say. Dogs pout. Just saying. another huff. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what he's huffing about, but I am going to sign off. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you for the jewels and for just being here and hanging out. And Tanya's saying, oh yeah, they pout and they can tell time. They may not use a clock, but they can tell time. They certainly can. They certainly can. So, all right, you all. Thank you again for hanging out. Busy lady, Tanya, it's been good to talk to you for a while. Everybody else that's come out, thank you and welcome. So, don't forget to give me a like on the live stream. And don't forget to always be bodacious, which means you're not going to let life get in the way of living. Okay, thank you all. You have a good night, and I'll see you on the next video or live stream. Okay, good night.